Welcome everyone, I'm Craven and this is my final thoughts video on Evoland, a nice small little indie game that pays an homage to the evolution of the RPG genre. This will be my first video of a game I technically played offline over the last week or two, and I say technically as I have made a Let's Play of the game a few years ago when I was just starting out doing Let's Plays, but as I wanted to make sure I got my thoughts on it right, I decided to play it once more. And having said that, feel free to watch that old Let's Play and see where I came from. Also, don't forget to like and comment on this video as it does help me a lot. With a game like this, there isn't much of a story other than a one-page story setup you unlock during one of your so-called evolutions. That story is as follows, and yes, this is the full thing. After a century of peace, an ancient evil has finally resurfaced to threaten the world of Evolandia. I know, but stay with me. You are one of the few remaining members of the Order of the Dragon Knights, whose purpose is to travel the world to help the needy and fight off evil. Those centuries of peace clearly mean you haven't had a lot to do recently, but it looks like business is picking up again. And yeah, that the Dragon Knight for me is a reference to the old Final Fantasy games, and that is the setup of the entire story. A nice little nod to the old game like Final Fantasy. For the purpose of this game, it works well enough. And as we continue to evolve, we meet more characters like Karis, which is of course a clear nod to Aerith from Final Fantasy VII, and Sephiroth with a Z, which is of course a clear reference to Sephiroth with an S, also from Final Fantasy VII. But if you want to know more about them and how they work inside the story that is here, you'll have to find out more by just playing it yourself. The characters throughout the game are not super fleshed out, but I think for the purpose of this game, it works and it keeps the game going. The core gameplay of the game is the evolution of your game. You start out by just having the ability to move left over a very small little texture bar in like the Game Boy style pixelated background by opening chests. At first you move left, then you move right, and then you can move all around. And the more you open up these chests, the more you unlock evolutions within the games. From moving in every direction to added sounds, special effects, music, color, enemies, fighting even, and the list goes on and on until you reach the lofty goal of 3D gameplay and combat. It is a fun mechanic, and you do get the feeling of moving through the ages of RPGs by hitting a lot of the streets down memory lane. The combat? Well, it's simple and effective. You start out with poking at the enemies with your sword like the old Zelda games, including some of the enemies you see looks exactly like the older enemies of those Zelda games. And before you know it, you'll be swinging away your Buster Sword or using bombs and arrows that you pick up along the way, which are also staples of some of the older action RPGs. Combat is done through a few different ways. Some action combat, turn-based combat. There's even a moment that makes your fighting feel like you're playing a Diablo game, like that sphere of blood that you can use when you get hit to a fully decked out equipment screen. Do have to say, the equipment that you do pick up, I don't know if it has any effect, but it does have very nice, funny comments on it when you look at them in the menu, and definitely try to find them all and check them all out because it's well worth it. And if you feel like you are getting stronger, more power to you, of course. And they are all those fun nods to different kinds of old RPG games, and that makes it so much more fun to go through it all. It is all very simplistic, and it could possibly have worked out a little bit more, but for what this game is, it works, and personally I don't mind it. The levels itself, in particular the dungeons and the cave designs, has a few flaws in it, that as you find hidden paths, you actually are just walking through solid wall instead of it being open, or you have cracks that you blow up with a bomb. And it can be easily overlooked, but it is something you'll notice as you explore. The forest areas, however, are done really well, and the hidden chests and all that are worked well throughout the game, like cutting off away bushes, burning down trees, working with different perspectives. It works really well in my opinion. There's also a collectible item system in the game, meaning that you have to collect stars and cards. Cards you can use for a minigame, and stars just to collect them. You have to look very thoroughly to find them, but if you do have problems with it, there is a guy somewhere in the game that tells you hints on where you can potentially find them. It's a nice little extra objective to fulfill in the game, and I actually kind of like it. Like mentioned earlier, you start off the game with just one bar on the screen with which I call Game Boy style pixelated graphics. And as you play along, you go from, as you pick up more of the chest, you get more pixels, more colors, more depth, and eventually you'll get to the point of having a full 3D character with first normal pre-rendered backgrounds like the old Final Fantasy games, to in HD versions of those pre-rendered backgrounds after the HD mock-up you get with those remakes nowadays. Everything looks very nice, but nothing beyond just simplistic 3D graphics. So no ultra-realistic 3D characters with hair flowing through the air or anything like that. And I don't think this game needs to go that far with their evolutions to make the point. Visually, the old style of it makes it really nice, and it makes the journey a good one. The music? Well, the only thing I say about it, it is pretty standard. It does its job, and it feels like it fits the game nicely. There's nothing that will offend you, and there's nothing that really stands out to me. If there is a song that stands out to you, please feel free to write it in the comment, but I think it all fits really well within the game itself and does its job. Okay, so the game itself, it's about 4 to 6 hours long, depending on how you play it. It feels more like a tech demo for the evolution system than rather a fully fledged game with a full story, fleshed out mechanics and all of that. But knowing that they went full on RPG with the sequel, I think I can go with it and it works for me. All the nods to old RPGs, seeing the high wind in the background of a town and walking through it, playing the game, and to eventually get control of it, feels really good. It's really nice. It works in the style that it's meant to. And another thing is that everywhere around the game, when you look into chests, cupboards, even boxes and barrels, you find like little text with slight little nods to older game and developers that made them. And it's always a fun thing to read, and it brings you back to that old state when you were playing the games when you were younger, at least in my experience. There's even a little reference in a hidden cave at the bottom in a chest referring to Schrodinger's cat. And if you know what it is, you know. And put that together with characters like Karis, Sid and Sephiroth, and your trip down memory lane will start all on its own, and you just have to enjoy the ride. And if you get the game in the Legendary Edition with Part 2, it is well worth playing through it. The first game, it basically prepares you for what comes next, and you'll enjoy getting there. So, in the end, have you played Evoland? What do you think of it? Was it worth it for you as well as it was for me? Let me know in the comments. For now, I wish you all a great night, morning, day, wherever you are. And if you're still here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. So for now, bye bye.